hell mode.
That's crazy, man. That's definitely up there. It's on the list. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Nomadic King channel. I'm James Showers, cleanest name in the biz, and today we're going to take a look at union versus non-union. We'll start out with talking about my experiences and go over 5 talking points in this video. Grab that popcorn, sit back, let's jump in my office, and let's start the show. Well, the office is full. We're out here in the house. We're going to go ahead and go down this list that I've made of a few talking points that we'll use to compare the union to non-union. Okay, and I'll keep this short and sweet because I've tried doing this video a few times and it turns out to be kind of a long ramble. So if you want a really in-depth talk, basically a discussion on this, then let me know in the comments below and I'll make another video that is a little more lengthy and kind of dives deeper into each one of these topics that we're going to start out with today. So like I said previously, we're going to talk about experience first. Okay, so I got 20 years of experience, 10 years in the union, 10 years non-union, and I also have residential and commercial experience. If you'd like a video on the breakdown of my whole drywall, steel stud, carpenter career, let me know in the comments below and we'll work on a video for you guys too. But today we're just going to stick to some simpler talking points. 10 years union, 10 years non-union. Now you can see I have experience in each on each side, so I can kind of give my opinion on this. Right now I am working for a union company, so I'm slightly more biased to the union side, so take that in consideration, of course. But I've got I believe I have 5 talking points here, but we'll see what I actually have here. And I got some notes, so I'll be referring to those and looking down and making sure I'm staying on point so I don't get too rambly. But we're going to first talk about wage. Okay, that's going to be the first topic. Second topic is going to be knowledge and training. Our third topic is going to be job freedoms. Fourth topic is going to be future, basically your future. And our fifth, I've got written here that just says like which one's best and should you join. But we might break part of 3 and 4 into number 5 because I kind of have like a work style and a bargaining section here, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to make it a full topic, so we'll just say there's 5. Okay, first one's wage, knowledge and training, job freedoms, future, and then the style of job, the work style, and bargaining. Okay, and then we'll talk about some other stuff at the end of that. So when we talk about wage, now depending on the area that you're at, whichever state you're in, for the most part unions tend to be higher paying than non-union jobs. Okay, and typically they come with benefits and some sort of retirement plan. Okay, that's not true in every state that you're in. Sometimes you'll make more money as a non-union worker if you're working footage or I don't know, it depends on what the wages are and what the contract is, and we'll talk about that in the bargaining section a little bit later in this video. But for the most part, you're making more money. Here in Washington where I'm working, a carpenter, an apprentice will start out at $27 an hour, and we top out right now at $45. Okay, so that is probably a lot more than you're going to make working for a non-union company out here. Most people will probably make 20 to 25 or something. And then when I was in Idaho, the unions out there top out around 29. Okay, and you're most likely going to get 18 to 20 if you're doing non-union work. But if you're in a situation like that, in that area, you'd most likely be footage, in which case you could surpass the $30 an hour you'd make working for the union. You just wouldn't get your benefits. So like I said, it depends on the area you're in, but for the most part, the union is normally paying a premium wage because you have bargaining power, and we'll talk about that later. The other thing is a consistency of pay. We normally get paid once a week. There's a little squirrel outside. We normally get paid once a week, and taxes are taken out, so that's kind of nice. And a lot of times, if you're doing residential, sometimes you'll be 1099 and billed as a subcontractor, and your taxes won't always be taken out. Okay, and then also sometimes if you're doing residential work, sometimes they only pay once a month. So the consistency of wage every week is kind of nice. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and talk about knowledge and training. Now, if you're doing non-union, most likely you're probably working under a journeyman or somebody that is subcontracting himself. So you're gonna learn on the job, and depending on how well your journeyman is at teaching or how willing he is to teach, or they are to teach, then that's how fast you'll progress. Some people almost don't want to teach you because if you learn a certain amount, you'll want to go on your own, or you'll want more money, which is to be expected. If you know more, you're worth more. So some people will just kind of keep you in that spot. So your knowledge isn't limited in residential, but it's a little harder to obtain. Now, if you're doing union work, you're going to be most likely a part of the apprenticeship. Okay, so you're going to be required to go to school. I don't know exactly how often you have to go to school. Each area is probably different. Let me know in the comments below if you know how many hours you have on the job compared to how much schooling you have to get in. But normally a lot of these apprentices, they'll have a whole week of school, and you'll be learning a lot of the new systems that are coming out, not just in with the steel studs and the drywall, but different techniques. Like they have like a ceiling, like a frog skin class that they're doing now. They've got welding, they've got blueprints, plan reading. They've got all these different classes and courses that you're going to be trained in. And when you finally journey out, so each one of these notches of your apprenticeship is to allow you to gain a little bit more knowledge, so you're worth the money that you're going to be increasing as you learn and move forward in your apprenticeship to journeyman level. And along your way with the union, anyways, in most areas, you're going to be going to these schools. You're going to be taught new skills regardless of who your journeyman is, because you're going to an actual class with a teacher telling you what's going on, and that's going to be above and beyond your actual on-site training. You'll still gain some knowledge from just going to the job, seeing the different positions and situations, and working with certain journeymen that are willing to train you. Okay, so you're going to gain a little bit more knowledge there. And in most areas, when you do journey out, it's actually a construction degree, like not sure exactly what it is, but you're basically going to school, basically going to a college. So you're going to get like an actual certificate that shows that you have knowledge, and all that knowledge adds up later on in life. So it's definitely good. We're going to go into category 3. Okay, it's a category 3, everybody. And now this is going to be job freedoms. And now residential or non-union typically is more residential, but I have worked on a lot of commercial non-union jobs. But normally you have a little bit more freedom in the job. Not that you want to show up late all the time, but you can. You're not going to be... It's not so cut and dry. Like you have to be here at this time, you have to clock out this time. You're just showing up, you work hard. You could leave early if you need to, and sometimes you have the options with the non-union to get more time, like to work overtime, or to if you're footage, to do more, complete more, and make more money. Because we don't always have that freedom on the the union jobs. Sometimes it's you're limited to the hours that are being allowed at that job. Sometimes it's only a 40-hour week. Sometimes you're able to do a Saturday. Sometimes they're wanting you to do 4 10s and a couple 8s or whatever. So your freedom of choice to decide whether or not you're working overtime or not is not really typically there as much with the union. So if you do get a Saturday, it's more of a privilege, as where when I was doing a lot more residential or non-union, I'm almost always working the weekends, you know. It's almost like you're trying to get as much work as you can, you know, to make up for you know, lost time maybe during the week, or just to get a little extra money. So it's nice that you have those freedoms. A lot of when we're talking about freedom, we're talking about having like a radio, wearing shorts on the job, wearing a muscle tee, you know. You have the freedom to do what you want, you know, in the way of PPE on these non-union jobs. For at least residential jobs, you can come there and listen to the radio, wear the loose clothes on a hot day, take off early if you want, come back, work late. There's just a lot more freedoms, as where the most union jobs, there's normally like a ban on the radio. So some sites won't allow you to have radio at all, or even headphones, so you can't listen to music or be distracted from sounds on the job site. You're normally required to wear 100% PPE, hard hat, safety glasses, earplugs, and gloves on certain jobs and for certain companies. And also, when we're talking about freedoms there, you aren't exactly having the freedom to do coming and going as you please. You're basically working for a company, and when they require you to be there at a certain time, you have to be there at that time. You have a set time for break, how long that break is, set time for lunch. And some people want to skip lunch and leave a little bit early. You can't do that. You don't even have that option sometimes. So depending on the job, who's running it, you're at the mercy of your employer at this point. Okay, so you have a lot less job freedoms. Okay, talking about number 4, we're talking about futures. Okay, and when I'm talking about future, I'm talking about more of like the benefits that you're going to be getting from say the union side, where we're going to get a 401k, some sort of annuity. Even having the healthcare is even beneficial to your future. You know, the fact that you might not go to the dentist, or might not go to the doctor if you're going to have to pay for it, but if you have insurance, sometimes you'll go, you know, or you'll get a chiropractor or a massage and put it on your insurance, and that's beneficial to you in your future. Obviously 401k, definitely good for your future. You're going to want, you know, something later on. Now if you're doing subcontracting, you're most likely not even setting up a an unemployment, you know, because as a subcontractor, when I was up there, my guys are covered, but I'm not covered. If I got laid off, I'm stuck with whatever's money's in my bank account. So you know, you have less security, and you know, the future is kind of not exactly set forth, as where if I got laid off right now, I'd get unemployment, and I do have a retirement and an annuity sitting there. So you have something to protect you and help you, you know, for the future. And I kind of threw the bargaining. I was in the bargaining kind of like another subject, but the bargaining really kind of goes towards your future too. And with the union, you actually have people going and bargaining for all the union members to increase wage, to increase benefits, to get any kind of demands met. You know, like they had a thing recently where, you know, parking's expensive, so we worked in a little bit extra for parking. You know, little things like that is where if you're non-union, you don't have anybody grouping together and going to contractors and say, hey, we demand this much money. You know, there's no set scale. It's kind of whoever's bidding the least gets the job. So it's kind of nice to know that we at least have like a future moving forward. Like even right now, we bargain for contracts every couple years, and we've worked into this next contract over the next 3 years. We'd get a raise of $11. So, I mean, that's something you're not going to get on the non-union side, on the residential side. Nobody's bargaining for you to get any more money. The only way you're going to do that is to either work more, hope that, you know, the price of production goes up so that you can charge more, that's so busy that you can charge more because they can't say no because they just need you. But you don't have anyone actually going there trying to increase your wage, you know what I mean? So and then I kind of had this work style, and it kind of jumps into the job freedom section too, but I kind of want to talk about that is like the difference in style of a non-union worker to a union worker. And now a lot of the non-union workers have a lot more hustle, I feel like, and they have to move, mainly because if you don't, you're going to lose your job. And union workers normally have a reputation of not being fast, a little bit slow, just not having that hustle. And in some cases this is all correct, and in some cases it's not. We have differences between these jobs, as where if you're doing like a residential or most normally non-commercial, when you go there to rock or do framing, all the other trades are normally out of your way. You're set up to just blow and go. You start, you can finish, okay? There's nothing holding you up. And now when we're dealing with some of these union jobs, they're a lot more intricate, and definitely there's a series of there's a lot more going on to them. And so when an area gets open, sometimes you can only top out, sometimes you can only do one side of the wall, sometimes you can't do anything. Sometimes the whole job gets kind of held up and you're working on some little project and trying to keep yourself busy for a little bit until something else opens up, okay? So there are a lot more downtimes and a lot less hustle going on in the union jobs, but it's just because of the way that the jobs are structured. Once the jobs open up and it's a steady flow of work with no obstacles in the way, there is a lot of hustle, people moving, product getting up, production being made, but sometimes there is that lull, and I think that it kind of gives a rep to union workers that they're lazy or slow or just they don't do enough. But I'd argue that most union workers probably have a lot more knowledge than non-union workers, just because, for one, you're being trained, you're seeing a lot of different things on jobs that you're not going to come across in the residential. I mean, you're dealing with lead board, VHI board, different backer panels, shaft liners. You're probably going to end up doing some framing, some just some weird stuff. You're going to see some stuff that you'll only see on these tricky commercial jobs. So yeah, so you might have a little bit more hustle or work ethic when you're doing residential or the non-union, but normally it's because you're probably footage, which is a good thing, and you're probably more honed in towards quantity over the quality. A lot of times we're shooting for a good quality in residential, but you know, the next job, the next job, the next job. So sometimes a lot of the quality gets overlooked and everyone's just so focused on the hustle. Okay, so throughout my career, both have had their place for me. So it's hard for me to say, hey, union's going to be the best for you, non-union's going to be the best for you. You know how you work. You know whether or not you're going to deal with somebody telling you to be on time, getting mad that you're late back from lunch, getting mad that you need a day off, not allowing you to do work. So I mean, if you're that kind of person, you're probably going to want to do the residential, the non-union work. If you're a guy that's going to be, you want to hustle and you like doing the footage rate, the residential is going to be good for you. When you start looking at the long term, I don't feel like the residential's so great. There's a lot of time that I've lost doing residential that I can't gain back. Had I just spent my full 20 years in the union, I'd be ready to retire right now. I'd have a full retirement set up. I could, get out in another 5 or something if I wanted to round the amount of money I get every month in retirement up. But right now I'm set where I got to put another 10 years in building that 401k so that I can retire, or I could have a retirement. So in the long run, the union's definitely going to be your best bet. But if you can still be smart and manage your money doing non-union, setting up a 401k, getting into some stocks. There's plenty of ways for you to invest for the future. It's just not done for you. Okay, so yeah, that's basically it. Like I said, they're kind of a tie. They both have their place. A lot of the times, residential gets slow and the commercial's booming. The commercial gets slow, the residential's booming. It's kind of why I ended up going back and forth so much between the two. But if I had my way, I would have rather have stayed just union the whole entire time. I would have gained more knowledge. I'd have a lot more set up for my future. And when I even just look at my situation now compared to how it was when I was in Idaho, I'm constantly chasing that next check to pay my guys, to get my insurance, to buy these tools. As we're right now, I get a check every week. I'm ahead of my bills. I have money in the bank. I don't have to buy power tools and stuff. I don't have to take care of all my insurances and stuff. I'm doing a lot better in the situation I am in now compared to running a crew, putting all that time into it, stressing, all that. It's gone. All I do is go to work, make my money, and work towards my future. So where I'm at now, I lean more towards the union. But like I said, every guy is different. If you're looking to get into the union and you're thinking that this sounds like something you want to do, should you join the union? I mean, only you can answer that. But if you'd like to, send me a message. Check out the link in the description below. Got a bee trying to come into my house. Check out the links in the description below. Send me an email or something. I'll get back to you. I am in a position where I can help people get jobs in this area. There's jobs coming up, and we're going to be needing to fill some slots. And I'm going to be helping increase manpower in a few of these jobs. So if you're looking to get into the union, the Carpenters Union, that's what I deal with right now, then, there might be a future there. If you're looking to get into residential, the best bet would be to show up to a lot of these residential jobs early in the morning and go bug some of these contractors, seeing if they need a helper. So that's kind of your way to get in there. If you're looking to actually just get in the union, look up your local, your closest union local. Give them a call. Alright, I gotta wrap this video up. Try not to ramble. It happened anyways. If you're looking to get in the union, give a shout out to your local. If you're looking to get into residential, find yourself a contractor, find yourself a sub. Okay? I'd like to know from you guys anyone's had experience in the union, non-union, share your experiences. Let me know which one you feel like is the best for you, or maybe even others. Let me know something that I missed out in this conversation. Let me know if there's something I got wrong in this conversation, and let me know if you want to see some other video on this subject, something a little bit deeper dive. You know, this is a pretty long video. If you want a deeper dive or any of that, let me know in the comments below. Which one do you think's best? Let me know in the comments below. It's been fun. I love you guys. Like, share, subscribe. See you on the next video. Peace.